What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on Truth Be Told.
Hello and welcome to Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie, where we believe in experience becomes truth. I'm your host, Tony Sweet, and joining me now in studio is world-renowned psychic Eddie Connor.
Thanks, Tony, and hi, everybody. Now, all of you know that Tony and I love guests that are able to communicate with spirits on the other side. Today is no exception. We have MIchele Livingston. She's an internationally famous visionary, psychic medium, and gifted artist. She has a master's degree in art education, and she taught art in public schools and later displayed her work in her own art gallery. Clairvoyant from an early age, she has the incredible ability to see and communicate with angels, departed loved ones, as well as spirit guides.
MIchele is the newest member to the UBN family, starting her own show just a few days ago, and it's every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time on Channel 2. Her show title is MIchele Livingston, The People's Medium.
She's also the author of Visions of Mary, Miraculous Encounters, which are about true stories of experiences with angels and departed loved ones.
One of her most recent books, Messages from Beyond, a spiritual guidebook, is filled with positive affirmations and other information about conscious manifestations, advancement of the spiritual journey, and other metaphysical concepts.
MIchele has touched thousands and thousands of people one-on-one and in seminars with messages and actual visitations of departed loved ones. Of course, Tony and I are both sure that you'll be touched today. So please put your hands together and welcome to Truth Be Told, author, psychic medium, and gifted artist, MIchele Livingston.
Welcome, MIchele.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, look how cute you look.
How are you?
We are great, and such an honor to have you on the show.
Can't tell you, the Pennsylvania pioneer for UPN. I'm first one in the East.
Yes, you are.
I'm so honored that you have me on BN. I'm just thrilled. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
please. It's. I was telling Eddie earlier that one thing that since we started doing our show and being around Eddie, I've got to see a lot of psychics, and then there's a lot of people that are very talented psychics and really make a difference. Eddie is one of those, and you are too.
Yay.
You are
Yay.
too. You are. I've watched you on James Van Prague show, now your own show. You are the real deal. I mean, you are the real deal.
Yeah, and when we were off air, he was totally bragging about you, and I was like, I haven't gotten to meet her yet. Now, we met just seconds before we went live, and then whenever I got to see your face and hear your voice, I'm like, oh, my God, I love her.
I love you, too. I love both of you.
So I'm dying to know how you got started. When did you first wake up to the fact that you were a psychic medium, and how did you deal with that?
My great-grandmother from Central Pennsylvania was a visionary. I said the other night in my show, if you know anything about Central PA, it's the backwoods. We have Quakers, Amish, Dunkers, and I mean, it really is. If you can do mediumship here, you can do where. She lived in the 1800s. Basically, she was a visionary, clairvoyant. And bless her, she'd sneak some readings. But my mother, sometimes these gifts, come down the family line. And my mother actually was a clairvoyant. She never used it. She would have precognition dreams. When I said she never used it, we're going way back in time with her as well. But she'd have dreams that would come true. And she'd dream of something, and literally the next day it would happen. So I grew up with older parents. My mother was 46 when she had me.
Oh, wow.
And so I grew up with the elders, so to speak. And I think it was a wonderful childhood. It was understood. And in regards to my father, I have a good angel story for him. Not necessarily right now, but as we go on.
Awesome. And so what are your personal psychic strengths, Michele?
I love people and want to help them heal from loss. Also, I'm a teacher, and if I touch a few this lifetime, it makes it all worthwhile in regards to bringing them hope, bringing them comfort, letting them know they're not alone. There are so many out there that are desperate, and they feel alone. And one really tells us what it's like, of course, to get to the next realm, the higher frequency. So the book I wrote is about heaven and what we could do there. It's not etched in stone. But yeah, my work is about bringing truth, awakening others, and I've been doing it about 25 years.
Wow.
Wow. And so this is obviously work that picked you and more than you picked it, essentially. Is that right?
Yes. I wasn't mature at a certain age. It is a form of responsibility, as you know, to help people. So it chose me years ago, and I was ready then to handle the responsibility of helping people heal.
Oh.
I started as an artist, and I have a master's in art ed and taught. So as my life progressed, the part of me just melded into the visionary part with art. It all came together. You know how things kind of come together.
Yes.
And that's how it worked for me.
I find that people who are dancers and choreographers and or who are artists and designers make the best psychics and mediums. And here's why I think that is. For me personally, I was the artist growing up and the designer. Of course, I'm a big old sissy, so I wanted everything to be pretty. Now, we lived in a single wide trailer in the backwoods of North Kakalaki, but I was like, we're going to make it pretty or I'm going to have to move somewhere else. And I find that the right brain, which is for part of the intuition, the creativity, artistic expression comes through when you have a highly developed imagination and you're able to channel it in dance, design, choreography, art, when you can harness it, hold the vision, harness the vision, then manifest the vision right in front of you on a canvas, a painting, or in a room for designers, or a dance recital, for lack of a better way to say it. You have an instant connection with your intuition. I think imagination and intuition are soulmates, and I would love your perspective on how your art helped you become an even greater psychic medium, even world-famous psychic medium.
Well, children, it's instilling and also keeping alive the inner child, Eddie. And I know you have a great inner child, a little Eddie that's still in there. Children are very creative and imaginative. So I've noticed years that I have this sense of humor, and I just love to make people happy. So the inner child comes out. But the artwork, I was doing visionary cloud paintings, and one thing just led to another, and you're absolutely right. And in the book that I just wrote, there's a whole section on entertainment in heaven and how music is so important, and tonal frequencies when souls step into that. And many artists have honed their skill or talent before they incarnate. So you're absolutely right. Music, even nature, anything that makes you happy, fills you with joy. You know you're on track. And so I've always been a joyful person, but I'm really happy now, especially since I'm on you again.
That's right.
I love you.
Well, I find that fascinating because Eddie was telling me that when he came out as a psychic, it was really hard for him because he was from the South.
Yeah.
Was the community, even though I know you said your grandmother was, had the gift, but in the community that you were at I don't know when, 25 years ago, that's still long enough to where people back then was like, that's, the devil, that's.
Oh my.
Did you have a lot of resistance around you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And I had an art gallery, and I would sneak people in the door.
Oh, really?
And do readings for them and show my art in the front of the gallery. And I'm a Presbyterian, so my church was across the street from my art gallery. And there's a lot of things that happen. Some days I don't know. I really, there's a lot of dissension, but now in today's world, a lot of people are open, and I think it's following your truth and your path.
Right.
I don't listen to other people. I don't listen to negative. I keep that pure inner child alive, and I just keep going on. I've had some personal setbacks, this kind of thing. Nothing major, but I feel if you're doing your soul purpose, if you're doing what you so attracted to, you should just keep going. I think it takes a lot of courage, though, to do this work. I really do.
It does.
And so, yay.
Yeah, it really does, because we're starting to be programmed now to be little cookie cutter, drink the Kool-Aid, follow the leader people. And I love it when you can find someone like you who's holding on to your individuality, your independence, while following your heart and letting your heart guide you to help other people open their hearts too.
That's right. And bring them some hope and comfort. What it's all about, really.
Yeah, I feel like people respond to sincerity.
Yeah, integrity. And I don't cast stones at any other mediums. I mean, we all do it. James Von Prague is one of my good friends. He's a wonderful medium. He does a little more of the British style, platform demonstrations, and we all do it differently. So even in this profession, it's not cookie cutter. Some of us automatic writing. Some of us are here, clairaudient, and then we feel, and then we see. But because the artist didn't see first, and actually I see a translucent way. I see through the spirit, and that on kind of like the personality of who I'm channeling. And then, as you know, from Eddie and Tony so long, they do retain their personalities and their minds and their memory banks. And that's what makes it so fascinating in doing this type of work, because it's never dull.
Is there a particular type of person or particular situation that you love to work with?
Better than others.
Better than others?
Type of situation, type of people?
Yeah,
yes. You asking me?
Yes.
For some reason, spouses are very close intimately. Seems years, if a lady's lost her husband, the husband comes in a lot of details. Isn't that interesting? And vice versa. Children, I do a lot with compassionate friends, and they're parents who have lost children, which is very interesting. So I do lectures with that organization, which is a national organization. But it never ceases to amaze me. And the other thing I do, and thank you for asking about the art, is when I start a reading, I work with 3 angels. The angels are called light beings and form a triangle around the person and myself, my client. And as I'm with that person and pick up on that person's auric field and energy, they formulate a soul portrait, opening scene. And it could be different terrains or seasons or times of the year. But by the time they're done with interpretation, it's their spiritual journey. And that's kind of a little bonus on the front end of my readings. So it becomes a meditation for the person having a reading. And I still do them because people love them. So, and actually, it's a matter of letting the out you're doing a mediumship reading. So I had to tell you that.
Well,
yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. And isn't it fun to watch how other people do what they do also?
Yes.
I love to study. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Some people write. Some people will close their eyes. Typically during a reading, phone reading, wherever it is, I have to wear my mask because I'm looking with spiritual eyes, not physical eyes, and body language. I really don't want to see. I'm just so focused on the angel. Yes, everybody does this differently, but I do agree that visionaries are important in this type of work. I really do. The people that see beyond the veil and the sensitive. So I think, Tony, you have a nice inner child, too.
Oh, Oh, I know
I
that. Yeah, it shows
Feel
through
that
every so
about you.
often. Yeah, I honestly, I get that from my father. My father, who's 81 years old, he still has that inner child that shines through. There's always a difference between childlike and childish. My dad's
That's right.
childlike, and I do have that myself.
So you've retained that. That's good. Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Great.
I'm trying to. LA is a little hard, but I try to keep that intact. But I want to ask. Eddie and I went to see Lisa Williams, and I always refer to this because I've never had this experience before, where we took a class from her, and I got to know the different senses and different ways of people knowing how to read. And give me. I always forget the
Like the clairsentient,
Yes.
clairaudient, clairvoyant.
Yes.
So, do you have 1, 2, 3? Do you have them all? What do you have when you use your techniques?
Yeah, that is a good question. I first see the spirit, how they're dressed, how they want to project. Now, they don't have to project as they looked before they passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Had pride, part of their personality. They'll project younger. But I see them first, then I start to feel emotion coming in. And I start to hear them telepathically then. And the way they circle around an individual is how I know where to place them in their family. I'm self-taught. Nobody really sits you down and tells you how to do this.
Right.
Or even even, as you know, Eddie, how to protect yourself, which is really important. But no, from doing it this many years, I really know that one side's mother's side, one side's father's side, a child will come in the front of an individual. Kind would be us friends. I've even had people say, "Get my in-laws out of here. I don't want to talk to them." And you know, when you're talking about traffic controlling, and I'm like the referee, they wait for years to get through to communicate. Sometimes mother's side will jump over dad's, and I have to, I'll say like, "Hold off over here." All right, go. On the right side, it becomes interesting. It really does.
So, do you?
Go ahead.
No,
I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say. I was just go ahead and finish your point, 'cause I don't want to interrupt if you're not finished. So.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to say that I love this work. I love it.
Well, you can tell.
I know that that there's a beautiful form of love and not that I'm ready for it tomorrow,
Right.
but I know that there's a portal. I know we're going to be grouped by our loved ones and pets. Everyone loves their pets, and then I feel we go through a life review, which.
Now you said pets, and I'm kind of curious. A lot of people, be able to speak with spirit that were human form. Do you also get pets that come through in your readings?
Sometimes, and they also retain their personality. I'm not an animal communicator, but I do primarily sometimes horses, dogs, sometimes kitties, cats.
Aww.
And they teach us unconditional love. And they're just, they don't analyze, they don't know time. I believe that every animal has a spirit guardian, though. And I'm so close to my animals. I mean, really, they work telepathically. They see spirit. We know that. So if your dog looks around the room and goes to the window and barks and no one's there, you know that someone is there.
Oh, yeah.
Pets do come through. Yes, they do.
So when I hear the spirit guides and the angels communicating, or the higher self of another person, I hear it like a very clear FM radio signal in my inner ears, and it almost sounds like your voice in my head telling my heart what to tell your heart. But when I hear dead people, they always come up to the left. I hear every third or fifth word if I'm lucky, and then I'll get sort of a popcorn image of things they're trying to say. So if they said, "Tell Michele we love that pink blouse she's wearing," I'll literally hear it as, "Tell Michele that we love you," and then I'll see the pink blouse, and I have to put it together. How do you hear when you hear them?
Oh, that's fascinating. I'm glad you shared that. I very specifically, like, let me give you an example. A mother will come through and say, "Well, hi, I brought my pop. what do you think about it? I just had my hair done. I mean, they speak right through me. The trans, I know there's AC and there's Abraham, and they, I think, are unconscious, if I'm correct, trans-channel. But is that true?
Yeah.
And I'm a conscious, well, James Von Prague calls me that, a conscious trans channel, where I take on the personality, and it's just them. I mean, my voice doesn't change, but my mannerisms change and my intonations change. So I'm actually with them, and they're actually in me, speaking to the client. But that's fascinating the way you do, because it's almost like a radio signal for you.
That's what I call it.
And you're hearing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I call it. I call it the higher self, or the soul of another person. Sounds like an FM radio frequency. And the people who have passed away come in, they sound like a portable AM radio duct taped to the back of a donkey's ass going through the Mojave Desert. So it's
the back part, huh?
Yeah, the back. Exactly. So
which
So in astrology, I know that I have some houses that fall under death, which is how I'm able to communicate what little bit that I do with the other side. Do you know what your astrology chart shows you as far as how many houses you have in death?
Well, no, but I'm a Gemini, so I'm here, there, and everywhere. It's an air sign, as you know, very fluid. And I'm also Moon's in Cancer, which I think grounds me, helps me to be a more centered, almost like a foundation. So I'm glad my Moon's in Cancer. I have to be honest, I don't know that much about astrology.
Me either.
But but I just do what I do, and I love to do it. So what can I say?
What's your rising sign? Do you know?
I really don't.
Okay.
I haven't gotten that far. I really don't. And please don't ask me where I was born. I'm just joking.
Yeah. 1974.
No. Oh, please. I love you.
So when I always find it fascinating that I always felt that, you had to have somebody next to you or in the same room when you give readings. But Eddie and yourself, you can do this via Skype, doing a phone. So how is it? Is it better in person, or does it matter if they're all the way on the other side of the world, or how does that work? I always find that fascinating.
Well, sometimes it's better when they're not in the same room with you, because there is no distance with spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd laugh. I mean, I'm in a recliner with an eye mask when I do consults, and sometimes they're even better than in person. I don't like to see the body language.
Yeah, I remember you saying
distracting. And I don't know about Eddie, but it comes out so quickly that if I miss a beat, it's gone.
Yes.
It's just, that's it. So I have to pick up another thought, and that's how fast it comes out. So that's the question. I do them all over the world, and there is no distance. And even the other thing that's interesting is there's no language there.
Really?
In Taiwan with my husband doing readings, and they showed me peaches and different symbols of Chinese, and the peaches represented longevity, and so all these symbols were coming up, and I'm able to interpret it through it, well, actually tell the interpreter, and it all made sense. And we know that in the next realm, there's no language now. It's all telepathic communication. So it's a pretty unique and wonderful thing to do.
So, well, let's talk about messages from beyond spiritual guidebook.
Okay.
So, what are the most common messages that people either get, not just to a loved one, but from, let's say your mother comes through? What do people really want us to know? I mean, because we get to are my family okay? I mean, well, yeah, but what is the messages that they really want to communicate to us?
Well, a book, Messages from Beyond. So I wasn't sure if you were referring to the book or just in general what people want to know.
Let's do both.
The book is positive affirmations, conscious manifest. It's a guidebook. It covers the realm of spirituality. But people basically want to know if their loved one's at peace. If a mother's daughter has a, for example, and she comes for a reading, and no matter where she is, we connect. She wants to. Basic question is my daughter okay? Did she make it to the light? Is what she did, and maybe life, I don't know, is what she did okay with the higher power, with the higher creator? And it's a myriad of questions. It really is. Like I said, I work a lot with spouses, and it's comical. You know, a gentleman might talk about his underwear, and they crazy stuff, where it's located, and it's. I just have to laugh. I really do. And what happens is, it's up so quickly that it shocks me. And I had one lady. I did something with Harley. And you can imagine this, and not everybody was tattooed, and all these Harleys were around, and here comes this sweet little old lady on a cane in there. She heard I was going to be at Harley, and sat down, and I wasn't getting reaction. And I saw a clothesline with a girdle hanging above her. That was her reaction. She said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." I said, "What? Please tell me." She said, "My mother always dieted, and she wore a really tight girdle. And we had 5 kids, and she said about halfway through dinner, she'd start to move around. She's trying to get her girdle down. And she finally, by the end of dinner, it was on the floor. And nobody knew it because she looked under the table and saw it there. So that was the connection that got her relax and open up. So you in this type of profession, you do not censor. You don't have time to censor. Your children don't censor. They just say things. And you have to do that. You have to. Do you agree, Eddie? There's no time to censor, right?
I agree 1,000%. There's no time to censor. There'll be things that make no sense whatsoever to us, and then we have to just get it out as quick as we can because it's like if you were at a gumball machine and you put a quarter in it, because now they cost a damn quarter, okay? So you put a quarter in the gumball machine, you turn it, and then you don't get one gumball. You keep getting until that machine is empty.
Oh, I'm going to go to Vegas.
And then you have to just tell them everything.
Jackpot.
Yes, that's it, jackpot.
Yeah. They wait for, as we know, there's no time in the other dimension. So they can wait for years and years to get through to say hello. And they get excited. And you have to hand it to them. It takes work on their part. Whether it's the symbols they're showing or what they need, they have to say hello. I think.
I do too. What's the best movie you have ever watched that had anything to do with psychics or mediums? Like one of my favorite movies is The Others with Nicole Kidman about the afterlife. What's one of yours?
Well, I love that one. I think that was so provoking. And this isn't necessarily about mediums, but I love Robin Williams and What Dreams May Come.
Yes.
Interesting. Did you see that one?
I did. I saw it, and I read the book about a year before I saw the movie. I was so excited.
Just the way they portrayed it with him on the other side and the beautiful lucid, it's like a lucid dream opening up. I have to say, that's one of my favorite movies of his.
Oh.
So,
well, I want to ask. I want to ask this one. This is, like I said, I'm just curious. This is my Sagittarius kicking in. When people ask, did my families go to the light, and did they get to the other side? Do you believe there's also the darkness where people don't go to heaven, quote quote heaven?
Yes, I don't believe in fire and brimstone, but there are different strata or layers. So if you think of the earth plane as a ball, as an onion, let's say, the next layer would be the gray area, and that's in my last. The gray area is where discarnate earthbound spirits reside. Some of them don't know they're passed away. Some of them don't want to go to the light. And I find it interesting because I found this out. If somebody really likes to drink, like a dyed-in-the-wool alcoholic for 35 years, they, this is not all, this is maybe just a percentage, will hang around bars. They'll wait for someone to pass out. they'll enter the person's body to get the feeling of the alcohol. So I jokingly say, what you do when you drink, because you never know who's been in you the night before. Obviously, and also with drugs too. Years ago, there were crack dens, but there was pregnant in a crack den. A soul may enter the womb to get the feeling of cocaine. So you see how this works, and it's not all the time. I personally protect. Not do any paranormal work. Really, do not deal with hauntings or anything like that. I want to deal with the higher realms, the love and light. So a person like Hitler, I would think, would be in the gray area, and heavenly volunteers, it sounds funny, come down, as far as I know, to help awaken those that commit heinous crimes, horrible crimes, and to try to help them to get to their life review. It's some of them wander and sleep in the gray area. And then as we move on, the angelic kingdom is the highest frequency. It's amazing. Angels, I love angels.
Well, speaking of angels, now doing readings, and I'm going to ask Eddie this too, when you're doing readings, there's different people here for different reasons and different type of spirits. Do you feel that there are walking angels around us as in human form? If there are, have you ever had a reading from one that didn't know that they were actually an angel spirit?
I've had few angel encounters, but the one that's the most memorable is my father passed away of brain cancer when I was 13, and I was his only child, and he was 60-something when he passed, 60, I think 4 or 5 years old, and we didn't have, but my mother our savings, and I, like I said, was Daddy's girl. She sent me over to Europe to study with a group of students, and I'm always precocious and talking and so on. I got lost in the heart of Paris with another little girl. We were both 13, and we couldn't find our way. We didn't have any money. We finally got to the subway. We walked down the subway, and all we knew what to do is pray. We were crying, and so I remember very distinctly mist started to roll through the subway, and out of the mist stepped this tall gentleman, and he had a suit on, white hair, and he had a gold badge that said International Guide. And we were thinking, we're young kids, and she started to try to speak French to him. He said, "Stop, I know all languages." Oh. And he said, "You lost, aren't you?" And we told him. He put us on the subway, Orsay is outside of Paris. It's probably half an hour from the heart of Paris. He paid our fare, and I'll never forget, in that half an hour, he told us all about our lives. I remember viewing him in profile. When we stepped off the subway car, he was right behind us. We thanked him and on. And she said to me, "Do you think that was an angel?" Her name was Sarah. And I said, "I guess so." And it was for. But a year later, I had a dream, a vision, and I was in a room full of people, and they had white on, and they had white hair. Here was the gentleman that saved us in Paris, and he walked across the room and came up, and he said, "Hi, we are all angels here. When your prayers came up, I was sent down," and he said, "This is called the Mercy Band. We're called the Mercy Band." And so, the movie "It's a Wonderful Life" with Jimmy Stewart, Clarence came down. But that's my one. I think angels can take human form. I do, in times of need.
I do
so that was a cool story.
No, that's a beautiful story.
I mean, experience, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure you see all kinds of spirit, that come through not only the spirit world, but through the people that are sitting in front of you. And have you ever had someone, and I'm sure both of you have had this, that, as I did, taking a Lisa Williams class, didn't realize that they were psychic or had the gifts of being an intuitive, develop in front of your eyes by giving them a reading? Have you ever had that?
To give them permission to be intuitive?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking? Yeah, it's called the aha moment or the awakening,
Yeah.
and I think everyone's intuitive. I Sometimes women are a little more open to this whole process, I found, than men
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. But it's wonderful to see somebody open up, and they end up writing books or becoming healers or teaching. I mean, it's fabulous, and we're all about this is all we're all linked together, like in this big global chain,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So yes, I get emails a thank you from 15 years ago. I have my own business doing Reiki, or I have this book on
Oh, wow.
healing, and it's just a wonderful thing to have. I haven't seen instantaneous, Tony,
Right.
but I've seen progressions of different people
That's
as
amazing.
they awaken, they go on, and they help other people. So it's like a pebble in a lake. It's concentric circles,
Mm-hmm.
and they come out, and there you are.
No, that's amazing. No, I find it fascinating because I didn't even know what empath was until I met Eddie, and then growing up myself, because when I was a kid, I saw a ghost. I used to see an old man in my house that I grew up in, and we assumed that it was the guy that owned the bank, Granola State Bank, when Granola when it first started, because that house was really old. And also I would feel other people's feelings. I didn't know it, but I would get sad. And I'm like, why am I sad? I would get anxious. Why am I anxious? I don't even know why but I noticed it as I got older and met Eddie. When it was around certain people, that's when I started feeling that.
Yeah.
And I've asked Eddie this many times. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add that empathic people have a lot of mood swings.
Uh,
If they wake up feeling pretty good and go about their day, as you know, Tony,
mm-hmm.
there's somebody depressed, ill, going through a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So by mid-afternoon, they're so and they're so tired because
Mm-hmm.
they've imbibed all this energy.
Yes.
And so a very important thing to do is to clear and to center. And it's interesting that you are an empathic person, because I can feel that about you. Uh-huh.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Be sensitive. But both of you are. It's amazing.
I was always a very sensitive kid.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
I remember watching, Lassie or whatever was on, Born Free. I would just cry and cry. Mom, why are they treating these animals? And then I remember do you all remember Soap, the series?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When Jessica Tate died, or they thought she died, I cried, and I just don't understand. My mom's probably looking at me like, why is he crying?
Script.
Yeah, why is he crying? But I would get so sensitive about, death, and I would ask her constant questions about death and, heaven and all this. But were you that type of child? Were you curious about the other side even before you knew it?
Yeah, a relative passed away when I was age 3, and didn't want to expose me to the open casket, but she thought, well, I'll take Michelle anyhow. So she took me and she held me, and everybody's crying and mourning, and I said, Mama, don't worry about it. I said, that's just the shell. I said, the real person's up there. And she said, you're an old soul. And then I had a sister who was 20 older, half sister. She was kind of mean. She would push me and smack me and so on. So I'd say to her to keep line. So I was about 4, and she's shaking me and smacking me. And I just looked at her and I said, well, don't you remember when I was here a long time ago? Well, she screamed and ran out of the room, and she said, oh my God, that kid gives me the creeps. So then come near me, I'd say something and she'd run out of the room. So I guess I learned how to protect myself.
That's hilarious.
Formative years between 1 to 5.
That is hilarious. And
that's funny.
When you say old soul, and I think I may have asked this before, what is really considered an old soul? I mean, is it, he was here 1,000 times? I mean, what do you both think really an old soul is?
I think an old soul has learned compassion through lifetimes of trial and error and tribulation. I think they're wounded healers. I think Eddie's a wounded healer. I don't know Adam or E. But I do have to say, I think that some mediums and some intuitives and a lot of are wounded healers. If you haven't experienced abuse, whether it's mental, physical, or emotional, you really put the shoe on the other foot and help someone or help the next person. And I think through lifetimes of tragedy and dire situations, it helps us to learn. And I also feel we learn between incarnations. So an old soul, one with a little more patience, possibly an individual, a little more tolerance, a little more passion.
That's the best definition I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's the best one, Michele.
Do you so, Eddie? Because take on that.
I'm in the same boat with you on that. I think that old souls, as you said better than I will, they will sign up for things. The joke always is for most old souls is whenever St. Peter's asking, who wants to go down and be gay in the South? And I'll raise my hand. Who wants to go down and be gay in the South and molested by a family member? I raise my hand again. Who wants to come, it's like, and really setting yourself up to cram kind of like 3 or 5 lifetimes into one so that you have that empathy and that compassion and that connectability. And then when you grow up, you work on you as much as you can so that you can help other people come up out of theirs.
So it doesn't.
Perfect.
Oh, go ahead.
It's a wounded healer.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So for people out there, it doesn't mean you've been here 10,000 times. It just means how you come.
No, you don't have to have thousands of lifetimes. You can have a few and study the Ascended Masters in between lifetimes. It's not about perfection. It's just an evolutionary journey, I feel. It's just love. I mean, it sounds so Pollyanna, but unconditional love is where it's at. If you can say that you love everybody, conditionally hurt you, give them those that abused you, I think then, you're getting up there a little bit spiritually. That ladder.
Yeah, well stated.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Especially during this election season.
Right. Okay, so Eddie always says...
Let's not get into that, Eddie.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I'm sorry.
Eddie always says he is a stadium-size psychic.
And a living room-size medium.
And what do you consider yourself? Do you have equal balance of both, or do you feel one or the other is dominant?
I got the. I'm sorry, because I was breaking up a little bit. I didn't get the whole.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Eddie, like I said, Eddie always says he's a stadium-sized psychic, but he's a living room medium. So, do you have the balance of psychic medium, or does one predominate? Medium or psychic more predominant for you?
Oh boy! I think more medium than I am psychic. You hear these stories. Everyone's a psychic medium. Everyone that's a medium is a psychic, but some people are adept at psychic. I do not do predictions because I feel the future is not etched in stone.
Right.
I think free choice and free will. We all have the capacity to make changes, to have the courage for challenge. I would consider myself the people's medium.
Right.
Because I started in trailer parks. I literally started, you wouldn't believe it, traveling up and down the Eastern Coast, going everywhere, and really going through America and getting to know the people. So I'm on a morning drive time show. It's drive time show in Central PA. It's called the People's Morning Show. And there's DJs and they're fabulous. There's a comedian and one of my friends, Jen, is on there. And so that's how my name was coined, the People's Medium. So I'm kind of mainstream, in the middle of the road. I would say more than living room or stadium. I'm kind of like middle of the road. I'm just for the people.
Nice.
That's a great way to say it. That feels really good too.
Yeah, that's why I love Michele. I mean, she's just so down to earth, real, and I just enjoy listening to when you work with people too. They totally relate to you, and they feel comfortable with sharing their inner secrets and their loved ones with you. So that's, I think, it makes you rare. Not saying that not all psychics are like that, but that you are very genuine about how you want to relay the messages from the other side.
It makes a difference.
Yeah. Well,
and I always pray, even with radio shows or TV, that those that really need to hear the messages can get through. there's different forms of messages, but some are on the throngs of suicide. Get a message, not that it's earth shattering for everyone, but it can be. I mean, it can, for some people, it flip them. A good message or just a pat in the back, whatever you want to do for somebody. So that's my prayer before I do things like this or anything in the public. I just say, please, let the ones that need to hear a message just get that message. And it usually works out pretty well.
Yep.
Well, we have about 3 minutes left. I can't believe the 50 minutes has gone by already because
no phone calls. Oh,
well, actually, I didn't even promote it as taking phone calls, or I would have. If I'd known that, I would have taken phone calls.
Right.
But I just wanted to spend time with you to get to really get to know you and have people get to know who you are, your work. But when we go to your website, MicheleLivingston.com, what can people find there? What in case they're looking for more information about you?
Well, they can sign up for my new email newsletter. That's the first thing. I've written 6 books, and I've had a couple media, several appearances. They can find out about me, how I got started. So I encourage them to go to my website and also to like my fan page, which is the People's Medium, Michele 1L, saying that all my life.
And since we didn't take phone calls today, well, they're just going to have to tune in on Wednesday at 4 o'clock right here on Universal Broadcasting Network, Channel 2. Get into the queue because people love getting a reading from you. They do. They love it. And if I know, honestly, I guess I should ask you if you would have taken a couple calls. Well, real quick before we go, I don't want to get into. We can do this later, but when you talk to Eddie and I, do you feel spirits come in? Just curious. I'm just curious.
I don't know. But I want to say, Tony, that you're very loyal person just from hearing your voice. I think that you're dead. I turn your back on anybody that you love. And I think that you are in it for the long haul. Whatever thing whether it's a venture or friendship or a family member that needs you, you're there for the long haul. And that's loyalty. And that's a rare quality. It really is. Eddie, he's a wounded healer. I feel he's genuine to the core. I feel like he loves people. He genuinely wants to help people. He wants to make a difference in this world. That's how I feel. Very briefly, just I can go on and on.
That's great.
But
well,
yeah,
Eddie does love me, don't you, Eddie?
I love people.
You love me. Say it.
And I love you guys.
And I love you guys. Yeah, we love you, Michele, and thank you so much. You're going to have to come back next time. We'll have to have you back, and then maybe you and Eddie can take some calls. And
I'd love to do.
She would be great.
Link.
That would be. Yeah, that would. We'll tag team. I'll be the psychic. You be the medium. We'll be like psychic medium.
Because I love when people call in and they want to ask for a loved one that's passed, and Eddie's like, yeah.
That'd be fun.
I would love to see you guys work together. So, but thank you so much, Michele Livingston. Go to MicheleLivingston.com and make sure you tune in every Wednesday right here on Universal Broadcasting Network. You can't miss this show because she has a line of people trying to get in to get a reading from her. It's right now. It's a 50-minute show, but I have a feeling she's going to need more time because people love it. But Michele, thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you, Tony, and hi, Eddie, wherever you may be. I don't see you now, but God bless you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, my dear.
Michele.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break. No, we're done actually,
Yeah,
Eddie.
we are.
Oh my gosh, these 2 hours went so fast.
It was a quick show.
Well, we want to thank you guys and thank Michele Livingston for joining us today. And sorry, I honestly I thought if people thought we were going to take calls, I apologize because she would be you would be amazed.
Yeah.
You would be amazed. But you can't miss her every Wednesday right here on Universal Broadcasting Network at 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, or I guess depends on
where you is.
Yes. All right. Well, we appreciate you. Go and support us any way you can on our website, on YouTube, on iHeartRadio. and I have a little thing that'll close out for us. So I'm Tony Sweet.
I'm Eddie Connor.
You're listening to Truth Be Told on Universal Broadcasting Network.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for listening to Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie right here on Universal Broadcasting Network. Make sure you go to our iTunes page. Just type in Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie. Listen to us on iHeartRadio. Again, Truth Be Told with Tony and Eddie. And go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and please leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. So please support our sponsors and make sure you listen to us every Friday right here on Universal Broadcasting Network from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, have a good week.